So Ty, where you go to school?
I go to Northeastern University in Boston.
Right. And what are you going into now?
I'm actually a communications major, and I'm heading into my third year, so I'm a rising junior at a 5-year program.
Awesome. Okay. And Ty, it's pretty unique that we're talking because you're a student athlete at a Division I school. Tell me about the transition between high school and college in terms of being like a student athlete. What were the biggest challenges?
Well, like as you just said, student athlete's a pretty diverse word because it involves not only being a student but an athlete.
Right.
So there's you can look at it from two different ways. As far as being a student, you have to really just learn to be more responsible once you head into college because you have essentially just more responsibilities. I personally have a responsibility to myself to get the job done in the classroom, a responsibility to my parents who are putting me through school and making this happen for me, a responsibility to my coaches, my tutors, my my program, and as an athlete, that's a little different subject, I would say. But as an athlete, it's just more challenging, more workouts, and more strenuous activities on a daily basis.
My sister played Division I college basketball, right? So pretty high level. And one of the things that she said consistently was the biggest difference was going from like high school practices to college practices. It was almost like a business. Like there's no joking around. Like it is run like a tight ship. Is that the sense that you got as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have put it this way: we have 5 different coaches, and their full-time job is to make me a better baseball player,
right?
And to make 35 different guys better baseball players and better people, better students,
right?
So it is ran like a business because not only do they need to win to continue coaching at my school,
right.
They need to do all the little things right. They need to make sure we're getting on the bus. They need to make sure all the travel arrangements are put together properly, and you can't really take that for granted. So there's no joking around at practice. It's a lot of fun, but that doesn't mean that you can just goof off and not take it seriously.
Would you say that one of the biggest challenges that you've had was kind of time management and organization around baseball and classwork and everything else that's going on?
Yeah, time management is the most important thing in my life, I would say. I have so many different things going on with not only exercising, and making sure I'm getting all of my work done. Time management is really what stems out to those things, because if you're not taking your time seriously and you're not really organizing your day if you're not really organizing your day properly in order to achieve success, then you're not going to achieve success.
Right.
Organization and being on top of what you're doing, waking up at the right times, going to sleep at the right times, getting your work done before it's due, exercising at the right times. It's all it all comes together, and it's very, very important.
And what about as you transition from like first year college student, second year, now you're going into third year, you've obviously had coaches / mentors around you. Like, how important is that to you, and like what would you tell like other students like coming into college about the importance of that?
Well, my biggest problem, I would say, leaving high school was the feeling that I could do everything myself, and the feeling that because I made it through high school, graduated high school, and was going on to play it at a pretty good Division I program,
yeah.
Pretty good school. I felt like I was the man. I felt like I knew everything, and everything was set for me, and I would just slide through college, and that's really not been the case whatsoever. You need tons of guidance,
right.
Tons of guidance. You need guidance as far as a baseball standpoint. I work hard every single day to try to make sure I'm the best I can possibly be, and I can't do that alone. You know, I need help from my coaching staff and every single one of them.
Right.
As far as from an academic standpoint, we have tutors that travel with us, and without them, it would be very hard for me to stay on top of my work. I mean, so it goes both ways, and I would say guidance is probably, without it, none of us would be able to perform on the field.
So you see it with your teammates as well, like other guys are taking advantage of it and everything like that.
Yeah, you have no choice.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any like words of wisdom that you would have for like, you know, a rising senior in high school who's getting recruited, whether it's a Division I competitive school like Northeastern, or even if it's a Division III school, like any advice to those athletes in terms of like picking the right place, like what are the key factors there?
Well, I mean, I go to a school in the city, and personally, I'm not a city guy whatsoever. You know, I'm pretty laid back, lazy, and you know, I like the outdoors. I don't like being pushed. But that doesn't really matter. Mainly, the most important thing as far as finding your school is the people that you're surrounded with. You know, I would say just the friendships that I've built, the people that I've been around with, the amount of mentoring and guidance I've gotten so far at this school, that's really what's gotten me through towards to where I am right now. And I mean, I just had a feeling about it, you know, it's just this weird feeling about like the people that you're surrounded with, and if you get the right feeling from them, then that's probably where you're going to fit in the best.
It's funny you mentioned that. One of my best friends from high school, he was a year below me, he was a great basketball player, and we played together, and he was getting recruited and got offers from Stanford, Kansas, William and Mary, LaSalle, and there was one other school, I think may have been Temple, and we were all like, wow, you know, Stanford, like, you know, Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas was a top team back when we played, and still are. And he chose William and Mary, and one of the things that his parents had mentioned to me when I said like, wow, why did Brendan like choose William and Mary? And they said because it felt like home, because when he met the guys on the team, it felt like all you guys in high school had that same vibe. Did you have that same experience?
The same exact experience. In fact, I did a overnight visit, and I knew right away that the freshmen that they put me with to spend that one night with, it was just one night.
Right.
I just knew right away that those would be my best friends for the next few years, and I didn't see it any other way. I visited other schools, and I just knew that Northeastern, those would be the best kids for me to, you know, have to spend every day with, and I really do spend every single day, you know, 8 to 10 hours with these kids every single day, and nothing's changed. Still my best friends, and I'm really happy with my decision.
That's awesome, man. Last thing, like I know one of the biggest jumps and challenges that students have when they jump from high school to college is sort of like the social scene, and you know, it can be pretty overwhelming. As a student athlete, like how do you best like manage that, you know, in terms of like your team, and you know, how do you guys go about that?
Well, like we said, if things can slip pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. I mean, it hasn't happened with me. It hasn't happened with you know, any of my close friends, but
Right.
things can slip pretty quickly. With our schedules, it doesn't allow for time to just be out all night.
Right.
And if that's the decision that if you were to make that decision to stay out all night, and we have a 6 a.m. lift, and you don't make it a 6 a.m. lift, you're off the team. There's no second chances. You have to sort of realize that it's do or die every single day.
Right.
If you don't show up to practice, you're just like, you're suspended. You're done.
So you've noticed then and recognized the relationship between like really good social choices and both academic and athletic performance.
Yeah.
And if you know, you're kind of slipping up in that one area and making poor social choices, how it impacts you athletically and academically and all that stuff.
I mean, it impacts you in many different ways, but just the fact that it impacts you physically and academically, that those are the main two reasons I'm at my school, is to be a good student, to graduate,
Right.
and to be the best I possibly can on the field. And if I were to be out drinking every night, that's obviously going to compromise why I'm going to school.
Right. And you have
it's just-
aspirations to go further with baseball.
I have aspirations to go as far as I possibly can, and I'm not going to compromise something like that with just drinking every single weeknight, and because in the end it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a responsibility to a lot of different people and not just myself. I would say that's the main thing that I've realized coming from high school to college is the amount of responsibility that has been put on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And it's not acceptable to just ride them off.
Yeah. Ty, last question. I know that we've talked a little bit over the summertime, and you're working through an injury,
Yes.
right? A lot of athletes that I've worked with in the past and have coached have struggled with injuries, and it's really kind of led to things like depression and sort of like anxiety and like, oh my God, am I going to be able to get this back? Like, what's helped you kind of manage this and work through it? Like, what's your mindset of it, and what's been really key there?
I wouldn't say depression or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, after I got injured, I was definitely down for a couple of weeks. I started thinking, it could take 3 to 5 months for me to get back, and now I'm sitting 3 to 5 months in advance, and my arm feels great.
Good.
And it's like, why'd I ever worry in the first place? You just have to be confident in yourself. I would say that's the main thing. If you don't have confidence in yourself, then it's really going to be hard for you to succeed and achieve your main goals.
So like confidence, perseverance, tapping into those things have been really awesome for you and really critical to you getting back to, being a potential starter this year.
Exactly. Self-confidence has always really been my thing. It's not something that I'm going to throw in someone's face. It's not something that, I'm going to show on the field.
Right.
It's not something I'm going to show off the field. It's just something that I've built up within myself enough to where I believe in it. And I feel like if you have enough confidence, you should be able to pretty much do whatever that it is you want to set out to do.
And I think that's an awesome message, and I'm glad you brought it up because I think it's a key message to send to, not only student athletes, but also just like students in general, that to be able to recognize self-confidence and also recognize like how it propels you to succeed, whether it's academically, athletically, or both, is really essential. So thanks for taking the time, and good luck this season.
Thank you.